Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. So first, shout out to Black Agent for offering to edit, and I really appreciate that from the bottom of my black heart and from the depth of my black mind. So make a long story short, Black Agent, I would like to take you up on that, but I want to do this when I've got more money to pay you because I don't want you doing this for free. Additionally, I want to give a shout out to the Black Lion who sent the email to me asking certain questions. I saw the email for a minute. I got interrupted in the process of reading it. So I'm going to have to print it up, probably when I'm at work at some point, print up the email, then read it out, read it while I'm answering each question by voice so that I'm not likely to get interrupted in the process of typing. Because if I sit down at the computer and start typing it, I will get interrupted again. That's a guarantee. So it may take me a while to do it, but I have not ignored the email, and I actually haven't even finished reading it yet. Assalamu alaikum. So there's that. And I also wanted to tell you all in this message, I'm recording this one for a specific reason, but before I get to that, please, would y'all please send some help, and I am talking Cash App help, to Dwight Hayes. His cash tag is probably in this description, and it's in the descriptions of other videos more recently. Forget about me for now, because I'm not going through what he's going through. But I can't easily do so because I can't, from here I can get Cash App, but I can't easily upload to the Cash App, upload a balance to it. You see what I mean? To send to him. I'm not able to do that. So I'm asking y'all to come through for him because he's been helping out his co-writer so much that now they both hurt. And he was expecting more from someone that didn't come through with a penny. There's that. So please hit him, y'all. Please dig deep for him. I mean, I'm good for a while. Just for him, please. Now, next, what I was going to tell y'all is the reason I'm recording this is to tell you all that we're going to have to do two things. We're going to have to look at the good sisters coming out the West that are worthy of friendship, and then mass friend zone them. We already know we got to leave the stereotypical ratchet Keisha with the attitude and the neck rolling and the eye rolling and talk to the hand and all that attitude. We know that. But what about the ones that don't really mean any harm? We got to mass friend zone them too. And there are reasons with an S at the end for that. One, they've not distinguished themselves enough. They should have, but they did not distinguish themselves enough. And this was necessary. We needed that, and they didn't do it. That is not okay. They could easily say, well, you men are the same way. I mean, how often y'all try to act tough in front of your boys and act like you don't really love who you love? And, well, that's some teenage stuff. And mind you, the funny thing is that these are teenage boys whose mothers were single oftentimes that really believe that mess. I don't play that. As adults, most of us don't play that. We just don't. And we are seeing that when we're now pretty much seeing confessions that when you are responsible, you're corny, and you never quit being corny until women of other races want you. But you're never not corny enough for sisters. We're seeing that now. I mean, what's going on with Michael B. Jordan? He asked if, so you remember that? And that was it. And then after that, he went on with the interview like it was okay. He answered the questions. So he didn't just diss her and ditch her. And I'm going to tell you now, the dude that was my childhood enemy can't interview me. I wouldn't be mean, but I just wouldn't talk to him and said, yeah, look, we can't have this conversation. I got stuff I got to do. You stay safe. And I'd leave. He stood up to me and backed down to other Negroes when that's when we were growing up. I'm now in my mid-40s, will soon hit my late 40s, and it still is a sore spot because everyone's got something they don't forgive. God does not forgive if you die while worshiping another God or an image that's supposed to be him or a creation of his in his place. He does not forgive that. He promised in our book, he promises if you die in that state, he's going to roast you. He doesn't promise you that someone else can send you. He promises you that he will send you to be roasted. The question will be regular or extra crispy. That will be the only question remaining. And you will not get out. My limit is you don't treat me as inferior to others. You don't have to like me, but you don't treat me like I'm inferior. If you are a bitch-ass coward, you don't stand up to me when you've run from somebody else, especially when I'm not the one aggressing on you. But hell, if I do, you still better lay down and take it if that's what you did with others. He failed. We fought about it, but he showed courage even in that fight. We're not going to get along after that. Doesn't matter that he gave up in the end. He still never understood. I am equal to the ones he fears. We'll never get along. Michael B. Jordan was not petty. I'm petty compared to him. Sisters are trying to keep high school stuff going until it's time to reckon. They want to blame grown men for things that high school boys are doing. Same high school boys they're not letting see their dads and get dad's side of the story because they drove them away. We're seeing this. And now sisters want to say the fact that he would even ask about that just proves that he's actually corny. No. He was looking at her like, do you remember? Yeah, okay, no big. Anyway, what's your question? And let somebody come to me with that mess. Hey, yo, black. And I look at him and I remember if they were the ones that did something. Most people didn't do that to me growing up, but a few did. But if, somebody that did something came to me like, hey, yo, black, can I interview you? Hell, nothing for you can't interview me, N-word. No. Not unless you paid for what you did. And who the hell's going to voluntarily pay because that's the moral and responsible thing to do? Ninjas don't do that. So that being said, we're going to have to friend zone the ones that are worthy of friendship, mass friend zone them, because they've been doing that. The good ones have been mass friend zoning us. And some would say, no, not really. Well, okay, let's say they were nice to look at. Okay? And well behaved. Yeah, they absolutely did. Not because of modesty and chastity, but because they felt they were too good. We heard that when that lady said that remember that, I forgot with whom she was on the panel, but she said that all the way up till she was 26, she was a virgin because she was scared, but she thought she was too good for these dudes. That. Yeah, that. She said she thought she was too good for them. She used them and played them, and now she wants to be saved. We would have thought she was the good one back in the day. She would have had options that she didn't deserve. We don't do that. Not anymore. Black men, we've been mentally shackled. And one of the reasons that I'm so adamant and gung-ho about this isn't because I hate sisters or because I love them. I mean, neither one would really make sense in this case. We need to be gung-ho about this, about leaving them. The ratchet ones, of course, leave them alone completely. Don't even friend zone them. And the ones that are worthy of friendship, mass friend zone them. For what reason? It's because we've been mentally shackled. It was a conspiracy. Now, you can take all the white man's conspiracies, and they were bad, and they were evil, and probably were more ill-intentioned than hers, or maybe the same. I don't really know. I think if you look at Massa's conspiracies against us, they were more ill-intentioned than hers, but nonetheless, hers was a betrayal. There's another one, too. Another thing about that. Her conspiracy was successful. That's the other problem. Her conspiracy was the one for which we fell. We expected it from Massa. We didn't know to expect it from her. Her conspiracy succeeded. There was no other conspiracy that worked as well as did hers. COINTELPRO, we knew and suspected something the likes of COINTELPRO all along. But when it came down to the Hyena COINTELPRO, when it came down to the hyenas pushing us away again and again and again, we did not know what to expect. We had no clue. We didn't know she was doing this. We didn't know that everything she was teaching us was designed to mess us up. We didn't know anything the likes of that. Everything that she taught us in mass was designed to not only benefit her, but to harm us, to take from us. Sometimes even with no benefit to her, just to make sure we didn't benefit. And then the good women knew of this and didn't speak up. The good women sat back and said, well, hell, all I got to do is be halfway decent and I'll win this. I just got to make sure they don't catch me. Shuck that fit. And that's what's the problem here. We have to look at the good ones and realize that they could make good friends because they may not mean harm, but they still were perfectly okay they were completely okay with what the hyenas were doing. And they didn't blow the lids off of this thing enough. And I look at this because I realized my mom did try with the vocabulary that she had, but there was a lot she just couldn't explain. But because the words weren't there back then. The terminology was not there and applicable to this. But you see, the sister, the Western sister, the hyena, has put certain mental shackles on us. And it's taken someone like the Filipina Pea to actually, without brute force, but rather with the acid of logic, to break these chains by pouring the acid on the chains and letting the acid eat through within a matter of seconds after hearing that logic. How is it that when a woman finds her level, she's fine, but when a man finds his level, he's creepy? How does that work? Where did that come from? And she's right. And the thing is, we were taught exactly to not think that way. And now she's got us thinking exactly that way. It took a Filipina to do so, a non-black woman, to actually behave more like a sister to us than the sister ever would. So all this time, if she's saying this sort of stuff from the outside looking in, then she knew mother cuss word well. She knew from jump. She knew from jump. The good woman knew from jump what was going on. She could have said this. The good sister could have said the exact same things, and they didn't. They certainly did not take to YouTube to say it while they were as young and as nice looking. If they did, they waited too late almost every goddamn mother cuss word time. And I'll tell you this too. That's not acceptable. It's not something you should forgive. That's a conspiracy. And they were in on it. And the lack of opposition, while having the cultural relevancy and the terminology to go against it, is proof that they were in on it. So mass friend zone them. We'll get to part 2 later, and I'll tell you what that entails. It will entail deep psychological work, and I'll explain that in the next one, inshallah. Thanks for listening to part 1. And as always, black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Thank you again for flying with me on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb. Keep jet black with me till the wings and the wheels fall off. Justice forever.